come clear with you on this. It is not your role or your job to do everything. And we're going to talk about why. No matter what society tells you, no matter what your in-laws or your own parents or whoever tells you, it is not your role to do everything. We're going to talk about why. So, to preface this, I have been in a place over the last, goodness, it's wild to realize we've been married for 14 years. So I've been married 14 years now. And something I've very much appreciated about our relationship is that we can be really clear and honest with each other because we're both very engineering minded. Here's the thing. In our home and the way that we choose to raise our kids is to recognize that each and every one of us has a role to play. Now, this starts, yes, even when they're small. So from the earliest, people would come over to our house, or I would share about how, yeah, my kids are helping to unload the dishwasher and they're 18 months old, or they're clearing the table, or they're helping to set the table and they're 2 or 3. For some people, that feels like, what in the world are you doing? Here's the reason why. It's because when we recognize it within our family life, that one person cannot be responsible for taking care of everything, it then means that we need to all do our fair share. And it also means that we allow for each one of us to start to function and flow in the area that we're gifted in our particular genius. So, for example, I talk about this from a home setting, but realize that this can apply to your work, realize that this can apply to any groups or connected spheres that you're in, that when you bring your best to that space versus just filling in holes wherever they are, you not only show up with more energy and you show up with more joy, it then allows for other people to figure out what they're good at too. So back to our home example. So my husband, amazing with organizing things. He is the person who loads the dishwasher. I could load it, but then he'd probably fix it because that's just a relationship, right? At the same time, when it comes to prepping food, I'm the one that does that. Why? Because that's something that I'm good at. For my kiddos, they're amazing at creating and crafting things. So if it's helping them to figure out how they can use that with putting things away or working on a project, the whole purpose is each and every one of us is learning about what we're good at. And when we figure out what we're good at, then that means that there are other pieces that we let go of. Is it possible that something happens? For example, you're on a team and someone is out for some time, so you need someone else to pick up the slack? Yes, totally okay. But recognize that when we get into this place where we just start to pile things on ourselves and we believe the story that we're somehow responsible for everybody's stuff, that leads to burnout. That leads to resentment. That leads to feeling extremely frustrated, not heard, and honestly, beginning to allow that resentment and frustration to build on ourselves. So then you begin to say, I don't even know why I'm here. I guess I'm here because if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And when you begin to believe that story, then it's this sense of martyrdom. And I can say from my own family's history that being in that place of viewing yourself as the martyr, it's different than viewing yourself as a victim, right? Viewing yourself as a victim is everything is happening to you. Viewing yourself as a martyr is, well, it has to happen to me because if it doesn't happen to anybody else, then nothing's going to get done. Not true. Okay. So please understand that when you choose to shift that mode of thinking where it's not on you to do everything, that will then allow you to then pause. It's going to be an adjustment. It was a hard adjustment for us. It was a hard adjustment for me of going, okay, I am not somehow less than because I'm not doing everything. Number one. Number two, even if it means that someone else is still learning how to function and flow in a particular role that's new to them, I can give them grace in that space because they're learning. That was especially true with my kiddos. They didn't put away big dishes. They didn't put away things that were breakable. It was things of, okay, now you're learning how to put away spoons. Now you're learning how to put away forks. This is how we hold a knife when we remove it from the dishwasher to put it away, which means now they know how to hold that knife and use it to set the table. At some point, we somehow think or imagine that these things will just magically come to us. That if I just somehow, um, show up, then I'll all of a sudden know how to do that thing. When in actuality, it's a process. And if we don't give ourselves time with that process, we then feel like, okay, well, I just don't know how to do this. So I'm just going to take on everything again. Give yourself grace, realize that it's a mindset shift, and give space for others to figure out what they're great at too. Okay. The cool thing that happens when you make space for yourself to not have all these roles piled on yourself and to allow for you to then have time to think, it then allows you to be in that space of dreaming, allows you to be in that space of creating, and allows you to think outside of what's right in front of you. Because that's another thing that happens when you sit in that role of doing everything, is that you find it very difficult to function beyond the here and now. You're either doomsday planning for the future or reliving the past mistakes you made. Free up that space so that you can begin to think about what it is that you want and what it is that you desire to create and how it is that you have dreams to be fulfilled. Okay. So I hope that is helpful for you. And I do need to make sure I say this. So in my group, okay, the Facebook link is there, and I believe it's also in the bottom. I'm going to be doing free mini group coaching. We're going to do it every other Wednesday. It's going to be actually right after I'm finished here. So you're welcome to jump in the group to join. And it's a way for us to just process through more of this. Let's start to unpack these ways of thinking. Let's start to look at our story differently. Because many times it's not that the situation isn't real. Yes, it may have happened. Yes, those things happened. Yes, this is where I desire to go. But are you willing to think about it differently so then you can choose to approach what you do next differently? It's really powerful stuff. So I'd love to see you in there so that we can connect more. And again, your success is my success, in the sense that when you shine bright, you make the world a brighter place. And for me, that is always a plus. So hope this is helpful to you. Love to see you in the group. And with that, I'll talk to you later.